You ever feel like you're standing at the edge of a cliff, blindfolded, thinking it's just a sidewalk? That was me the day I met her. It started so simple. A random follow on Instagram, a few likes, a comment about a band we both loved. Her name was Emma. She had this wild, bright energy even through a screen. Like every photo she posted had a heartbeat. We slid into each other's DMs naturally. Like we were just picking up an old conversation we'd somehow forgotten we were having. We talked about everything: music, favorite movies, dreams we didn't tell anyone else. She told me she wanted to travel the world, and I told her about my dream of making movies one day. She said she loved bad horror films. I sent her my worst ever horror short filmed on my phone. She laughed. Not the fake type, the real kind that makes you feel like you're actually funny, not just tolerated. At night, I'd lie in bed, bone glowing under the covers, heart pounding with every new buzz from her. My parents would freak if they knew I was up that late texting a girl, so I hid it like it was a precious secret. And it was. She felt different. She made me feel different. Like maybe I wasn't just some nobody drifting through high school. I started imagining us together, not in a creepy way, just hoping, wondering if maybe somehow I could matter to her the way she already mattered to me. I thought about telling her every time she messaged, "Good night, loser." The dumbest, cutest thing ever. It felt like a little window cracking open, letting the light in. I didn't know it then, but I was already falling fast. It took me a week to work up the nerve. A full week of typing out a message, deleting it, pacing around my room, staring at my phone like it was a live bomb. What if she laughed? What if she blocked me? What if I ruined the only real thing I had? But something inside me, stubborn, reckless, said, "Do it." It was late. She just sent me a selfie of her in a hoodie, hair a mess, no makeup, and still the most beautiful thing I'd ever seen. I stared at that picture for way too long. Then my fingers moved almost without thinking. "Hey, I know this is probably dumb, but I really like you, like a lot." Send. Instant regret. I wanted to throw my phone across the room, crawl into the floorboards, disappear. I squeezed my eyes shut, heart hammering like a war drum. Seconds ticked by, then minutes. Finally, 3 dots appeared. She was typing, and for a second, just a second, the whole world cracked open. I imagined her smiling, imagined her feeling the same way, imagined everything good and right. But then the dots vanished. And oh, replied. I waited. A minute, 5.10. I sent a dumb little LOL, sorry, ignore that. Follow up. Nothing. When she did answer the next day, it was different. Shorter. Colder. And oh, more little jokes. And oh, more late night talks. Something had shifted. Something bad. And somewhere deep down, in a place I didn't want to look, I knew the dream was already slipping away. I woke up to chaos. My phone was blowing up. Notifications stacked one after another, group chats buzzing, Instagram DMs exploding. At first, I thought something happened. Maybe some meme went viral. Maybe something stupid. Then I saw it. Screenshots. Dozens of them. Ugly, disgusting messages. Things I'd never written. Supposedly from me to Emma. Fake threats. Gross stuff. Edited perfectly, like I'd actually said all of it. She posted them on her story. Tagged me, said she had to speak her truth. I stared at my screen, frozen, feeling my whole chest cave in. My hands shook. I couldn't breathe. The comments started almost immediately. "You're sick. Stay away from her. Monster." Friends, people I'd known since grade school, unfollowed me without a word. Some left comments too, piling on, like it was a game. Like ruining someone's life was just another after-school hobby. I tried messaging her, tried explaining, but she left me on scene. I texted my friends. "You know me. I would never." Silence. It didn't matter what was true. It didn't matter what really happened. She posted first. She controlled the story. And in the world we lived in, a screenshot was all it took to turn a kid into a villain. For the first time in my life, I understood what it felt like to be erased, and there was nothing I could do but watch it happen. Walking into school that Monday felt like stepping into a furnace. Every hallway, every classroom, every set of eyes, burning into me. Nobody said anything at first. They didn't have to. The silence was louder than shouting. Whispers filled the spaces behind me. Someone brushed past my shoulder harder than necessary. Another kid bumped my backpack off my desk without even pretending it was an accident. By lunch, it was full on open season. They laughed when I walked by, shoved their phones in each other's faces. Snickering. One guy made a gagging noise when I sat down at an empty table. A girl I barely knew muttered, "Disgusting." Just loud enough for me to hear. Teachers noticed. They had to. But none of them said a word. They looked at me like I was something dirty stuck to the bottom of a shoe. I kept my head down. Pretended I couldn't feel their eyes slicing into my back. Pretended I didn't hear my name. Twisted and spit out like a curse word. I wasn't just unpopular now. I was radioactive. In 2 days, I lost everything. Friends, respect, safety, all because one lie, one fake story, was easier to believe than the truth. Nobody asked my side. Nobody wanted to. By the last bell before winter break, I wasn't a person anymore. I was a headline. A monster. A warning. And deep down, a small voice started whispering something even worse than the hate around me. Maybe you deserve it. I thought, stupidly, that at least my mom would believe me. She had to, right? I was her kid. That night, I sat at the kitchen table, trying to explain everything. My voice shook. I showed her my real messages. I begged her to listen. She didn't even look at my phone. Just crossed her arms, mouth tight, eyes colder than I'd ever seen. "They wouldn't be saying it if there wasn't some truth to it," she said finally. It felt like someone punched a hole straight through my chest. I tried again, desperate, reaching across the table. "Mom, please, you know me, you raised me." She pulled away like I was something rotten. "I don't know who you are anymore," she whispered. After that, it got worse. She stopped speaking to me altogether. Days passed in a heavy, choking silence. She'd leave meals out on the counter like I was a stray dog. And oh hugs. And oh good nights. And oh good mornings. I stayed in my room mostly. Lights off. Curtains closed. The house wasn't home anymore. It was a cage. Every time I tried to fix it, writing letters, cleaning, doing chores, she stayed silent, eyes flickering past me like I didn't exist. That's when the depression settled in. Slow, heavy, like thick smoke filling my lungs until I couldn't move. Couldn't think. I stopped trying to fight it, because after a while, even I started to believe what they said. Maybe I was a monster. Maybe I deserved to be alone. The next 2 years were a blur of slow-motion hell. I didn't have friends anymore. Just classmates who tolerated me like you tolerate a bad smell in a crowded room. And oh, one sat next to me, if they could help it. If I spoke in class, someone would snicker. If I walked down the hall, books slammed shut louder than necessary, lockers clanged, laughter bubbled up behind me. Sometimes there were notes stuffed in my locker. Freak. Creep. Stay away from real people. At first, I still tried to keep my head up, act like it didn't matter, pretend it would blow over. It didn't. The worst part wasn't the jokes or the whispers, it was the normalcy of it. Like me being hated was just part of the background now. Something accepted, expected. Teachers stopped calling on me. Group projects meant working alone. Even the guidance counselor smiled politely and rushed me out of her office, like I was contagious. My grades slipped. Slowly, then all at once. I used to dream about college, about getting out, building something better. Now I just sat in class, staring through the windows, wondering if anything good would ever happen again. It felt like whatever me used to exist, the kid who laughed too loud, who stayed up dreaming about movies and futures and love, had been hollowed out and left to rot. I wasn't angry anymore. I was just tired and empty and so alone. I turned 18 on a Wednesday. And no cake. And no card. Not even a happy birthday. Just a suitcase by the front door, already packed. Mom didn't say much, just stood there, arms crossed, blocking the kitchen like she was guarding something sacred. "You're an adult now," she said, voice flat. "Time to figure it out on your own." I didn't argue. What was the point? I picked up the suitcase. It wasn't even heavy. Most of what I owned could fit into one bag now. I looked around the house one last time, the place I used to believe was home. The photos on the walls didn't include me anymore. It was like I'd already been erased, even before today. She didn't hug me. Didn't say goodbye. She just closed the door behind me. Soft click. Final. I stood on the porch for a second, suitcase handle digging into my fingers. Hard, too numb to even break properly. Then I walked. No plan. No destination. Just the streets, the noise, the endless space that wasn't meant for me. That night, I slept behind the public library, curled up under my jacket. The concrete was cold, but it didn't matter. Nothing mattered anymore. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just lay there, staring up at the dark sky, feeling smaller than I ever had before. Not angry, not scared, just gone. Years blur together when you're nobody. I bounce between shelters and sidewalks. Now, some nights I get a bed, a hot meal. Most nights, it's just me, the cold, and the hum of a city that forgot I exist. I still have a phone. A cracked, ancient thing I keep alive on free Wi-Fi and borrowed chargers. Sometimes I scroll through Instagram, the same app where it all started. I see them. Old classmates, old friends, graduating, smiling, getting married, traveling. They look so happy it feels unreal, like they're living on a different planet. Nobody remembers me. Not really. Sometimes I wonder if I imagined everything. Emma, the school, my life before all this. Maybe I was always meant to be invisible. I tried once, about a year ago, to get a job. Any job. They took one look at the gaps in my record, the holes in my story, and smiled that polite smile that means, "No way." Hope isn't something I believe in anymore. Dreams feel like jokes I'm not allowed to laugh at. I'm alive, technically, breathing, heart still beating. But most days, it feels like I'm just a shadow dragging itself through another gray morning. I used to think hitting rock bottom would feel like a fall. Turns out, it's quieter than that. It's just waking up every day knowing there's nothing left to fall through, and still waking up anyway.